Hi, I'm Madonna.
I'm your worst nightmare.
To rule the world.
Why don't you show them what you do, honey?
You've never had more fun with anyone else.
People, we gotta move on to the next song.
I'm sweet and I'm a bitch, you know what I mean? And that's always been the way it is. I'm a human being.
I'm waiting.
Hi, this is Rod Thomas, aka Bright Light, and you're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast.
Hey guys, it's Tony. Well, he hasn't exactly been Valentino in the sack lately, if you know what I mean.
And hey everybody, I'm Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. As you just heard, our special guest in the podcast today is none other than Rod Thomas, aka Bright Light. Rod, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Good. How about you? How's things in New York treating you these days?
Oh, well, it's pretty mad. I can't say I've seen much of New York other than kind of like just from my window. But I do actually live 1 or 2 blocks from where Madonna used to live back in the day in the East Village. So today feels very appropriate to be, quarantined next to that greatness and talking to you guys.
Well, thank you. We are so excited to talk to you today.
Good. Poor you. Must have been a boring day.
Stop.
For our listeners who are not familiar with the music of Bright Light, first of all, shame on you. But we just wanted to give you a little background. Bright Light, aka Rod Thomas, is a singer-songwriter, musician, and DJ who was born in Wales and, as you heard, currently calls New York City home. He has been on tour and opened for some very large pop singers in the industry: Sir Elton John, Scissor Sisters, Ellie Goulding, Hercules and Love Affair, and most recently in Europe, the one and only Cher. His new single, This Was My House, which features none other than Niki Haris and Donna Lory and was produced by Initial Talk, was recently released. And personal note for that, it is a delicious slice of house goodness, I gotta say.
Thank you.
It sure is. It's like, oh, it's 1991. Here we go.
And I love it. That hot pink single that you have for sale
yeah,
makes me wish I had my own boombox back again. Like, I would love to have that cassette right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that little pink maxi single. It makes me feel very good.
How are you playing that? I guess you have like a tape deck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like an audiophile, so I have 3 tape decks in my apartment here in New York. I have like, everything like, cassette, vinyl, CD. I don't have anything older than that. But I do still have lots of my old collection, like on cassettes. I'm trying to like digitize them so I can DJ them out. And I still have my, memorabilia, mixtapes and things like that.
Nice. My friend Colin and his husband Chris, they had introduced me to your music when we were summering on Fire Island many years ago. And I think it was like the summer of 2012, and Feel It and A New Word to Say were like on constant repeat. Like every time we would be out at the house, it was just like I would hear those songs nonstop. So thank you for those songs.
Well, thank you.
Oh, no, I discovered the cinematography EP and I was like, I know every single one of these references. Who is this person? I must know everything. So I've been following your career since then, and I've been to a couple of your gigs at Club Cumming, and yeah, always so much fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of music is to make it sort of involving and fun, and I do the little references with the cover EPs and the DJ parties so that people can pick up on the references, and it starts like conversations. Really, that's what I like about music, and I'm sure that's what a lot of the fans of your podcast love, is like geeking out over certain references or putting the dots together and talking about them. That's what makes music fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that you are quite prolific in your instrumentation. I read online that you not only play guitar, piano, but saxophone and bass and ukulele. Like, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I do play quite a few things. With some of them, like if you play one, you can kind of trick the other one, because like the way that you use your hands or your mouth or whatever is like fairly similar. So you can pick one up once you've got like a decent hang of another one. I'm definitely like Jacqueline of all trades, though, versus super proficient on any of them. But I make my way through the world.
What led you to start playing instruments? Like, how old were you when you picked up? What was your first instrument you picked up, and how old were you?
It was a recorder. Like everybody in school plays a recorder. You know, those little plastic things. To every parent's nightmare. And I progressed from that to the flute. So the flute was my first real instrument, I guess. Desperately uncool. Apart from now, you know, Lizzo is making it very hip. And then sort of like piano, quit it, hated it, picked up guitar, then re-picked up the piano to be able to play keyboards and do different sounds. And then bass is sort of similar enough to the guitar, ukulele in the guitar world. And then when I was recording my last album, I wanted saxophone all over it. So I just got saxophone lessons and picked it up and played it.
And I'm so glad that you did, because the saxophone lends so well to your style of music. It's such a throwback, but it also sounds really fresh.
Yeah, it's just fun. It really adds that like extra bump of over emotion and sort of drama, I think, you know. So I'm a fairly dramatic person. So I'm like, maybe being cooped up right now is really not good for, for my energy. But yeah, the saxophone is very much it was on my hit list, and I'm glad that I went through with it.
So when did singing come into play? Is that something that you've always been into, or did that come after you started playing instruments?
I don't really know. I mean, I can't really remember a point in time where I actively remember starting to sing. So I guess it's just sort of always been there. I mean, there's this whole like legacy about Welsh culture that it's very song based. So it has like a long tradition of male voice choirs, and it's called like the land of song, you know, colloquially.
Yes, I know all about Sheena Easton.
Yeah. Is she Scottish?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. She's Scottish.
Yeah,
Never mind. I must have been thinking about Catherine Zeta-Jones. Excuse me.
The famous singer Catherine
Another
Zeta-Jones.
chanteuse.
Yeah, and Bonnie Tyler is from my town.
That's who it was, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, it's just one of those things that you sing in school and you just kind of don't think about it really. So yeah, couldn't pinpoint a time. Birth, I don't know.
You came out singing.
Came out singing. Never stopped.
So I've listened to, I was re-listening to your catalog of music just as a refresher. There's a lot of different influences that I hear across your music. You know, some like I get shades of Pet Shop Boys and Erasure, and obviously Elton John, who you've worked with. Who were some of your biggest musical influences growing up? You know, like were they those people, or were they like completely left wing?
Honestly, Ace of Base. I was just obsessed with Ace of Base as a child. I loved them so much. The All That She Wants single was the first single that I actively bought with my own money, and their first album was the first album that I got my parents to like actively buy me as like, I need to have this in my life.
Yeah, that's like a huge slice of pop, you know.
Yeah, and I listened to it at least once a week to this day. I think really, because it was weird pop, but it was just so out and out pop, and not many people managed to do that like major to minor key change in what was essentially like a basic radio song to most people. It was really smart and really strange, and the album itself is just this absolutely insane kaleidoscope of you know, like very like Europop heavy aggressive dance, and then like these bonkers little pop songs and a cover of Don't Turn Around. It's a really weird album, but that kind of really sent my brain in lots of different directions as a kid. And my parents liked ABBA and the Beatles, who I care for a bit less, honestly, which is sacrilege to a lot of people, but it's not really my thing. And then when I started paying attention to music actively, it was people like Tori Amos, Mariah Carey, like the dance records, but like Living Joy, Corona, topical, Real McCoy,
Nice.
Alanis. And then I kind of like absorbed everybody else for as interesting as they were when I sort of had like absorbed the pop radio stuff properly, and then I went back and rediscovered people's albums versus just the radio songs, you know, and then understood who they were as artists. Because like the idea of an artist when you're like 10 doesn't really mean that much. When you're talking about somebody with like Elton's level of artistry, or you know, Madonna's shape shifting, or Grace Jones's like gender fuck iconography, and or like Björk or something like that, and how she melds different musical styles. You don't understand what they're doing at that age, but when you become a teenager, then you can kind of like revisit beyond the singles and be like, oh wow, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, that's when you start reading liner notes and
exactly
going to the library. In my case,
Yep.
So those all are amazing influences. Like, you're definitely a child of the 90s. I also hear, I guess due to the quality of your voice, I hear a lot of electronic, you know, that project that was Bernard Sumner and Johnny Marr and Pet Shop Boys. And
was that electronic?
Yeah, it's called electronic.
Oh,
and,
I absolutely hated them. I really, really hated them so much. And on paper, I should have loved them. And I remember them being on top of the pops, and I hated it so much when I really liked all of their individual projects, and I just couldn't stand it.
No, that's funny. No,
I'm really
because
sorry.
I was listening to your work and I was like, oh, this is like evoking electronic to me. But like I said, it's the quality of your voice. So, you know.
Oh, well.
It's a compliment. It's you know, we can leave
Let's take it where it comes,
bin.
But yeah, like also, you know, like Erasure were one of my favorite bands, and they still are my favorite band per se. Like his voice was always just like something I thought was so perfect, and you know, people don't really understand it, but he, or they anyway, Erasure, were pretty much responsible for the revival of ABBA in the UK with their ABBA-esque EP.
And here as well.
Yeah, ABBA were desperately uncool to youth before that EP came out, and the fun twist that they put on it really changed people into going back into that like retro appreciation of people like ABBA, you know. And then you had further down the line like the Full Monty for like Hot Chocolate and Disco, but really I think they did sort of bring ABBA back to the people, and like people should be very grateful for that.
Yes.
But this is not an Erasure podcast, this is a Madonna podcast.
No. I mean, I think that's, you know, she's all part of the pop music landscape, you know. I mean, she's not solely responsible for all the music out there, so
listen, ABBA gave her permission, explicit permission to record Hung Up, so they're all in the same game,
a really incredible use of a sample that just really goes wild every time you listen to it. It's just such a genius move, you know. So
on the topic of Madonna, when did you discover Madonna and her music, and I guess how has it influenced you through the years when you started composing your own music?
Did it?
Yeah, it did. So I remember when I was like 5, standing on the wall in my garden with my friend who was just under 5, and we were singing Material Girl. And neither of us had any idea what the song was, who she was, where we'd even heard it. You know, it was just one of those songs that had been on the radio every couple of days or whatever at some point. Obviously not when it came out, I'm not that old, but like actually, do you know what, I am 2 weeks younger than Madonna's music career. Like that's crazy that her first single came out like 2 weeks before I was born.
So you've always had a life with Madonna in it.
I've always had a life with Madonna.
It was written in the stars.
But like, so, you know, I was obviously aware of her songs on the radio, but again, I don't think I really understood that they were all her, because you just hear the songs on the radio as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And then when it got to sort of like the late 80s, I had an idea of who she was, and I knew who she was because you saw her in magazines and Top of the Pops and all that kind of stuff. And then I really changed the way that I saw her when Bedtime Stories came out. It's my favorite album of hers, and it's one of my top 10 albums of all time. I really just thought that the kind of like slick boldness of coming out with Secret, which was just not what anyone expected, how like silky smooth and gorgeous, and how provocative the video was, and the whole black and white imagery and the nose ring and the hair. It really just like struck a chord. And since that album is when I really like dove deep and went through everything else that she'd done. So that was like the turning point for me was Secret. It's in my top 3 Madonna songs. I love it.
See,
so much.
I'm surprised that you wouldn't have tripped out more over Erotica, since Erotica is total like the epitome of 90s.
Bear in mind, I was like 9 when it came out, so
okay.
It's not really something that you would gravitate to as a child. I mean, I loved Rain, but I didn't know the album. Like, my parents weren't buying Madonna albums.
Yeah. Well, that, if anything, that wouldn't be the album a parent would buy for a 9-year-old.
No. But, you know, she was obviously having hits, and I was aware of the singles, but, like, it was when I was old enough to go out and buy a single when Secret came out.
Right.
So I could go, like, by myself and go and buy that versus, like, needing my parents to buy... You know, they weren't going to go and buy Fever
right.
in like a Welsh coal mining valley, you know. But Secret was like a kind of like jam on the radio, and, you know, it was a much more like adult sounding song on the surface. So it was like a way to sort of introduce that into the household, I suppose.
Yeah, imagine asking your
After the
parents to buy you the Erotica CD and they like flip it over to check it out and they see Madonna with feet in her mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Did you have you seen?
Know...
Go ahead, Rod.
I was just going to say, I don't even know if my parents knew she had an album out around those singles, really, because people weren't buying albums; they were just buying the singles.
Right, and those CD singles are amazing.
Yeah, the CD singles are amazing. Sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I was just going to ask you: have you seen Madonna in concert?
Yes, I've only seen her once, unfortunately. I had tickets to the Madame X tour, but I had to sell them because in the midst, well, since I bought them and before the show, I got asked to go on tour with Cher, ironically, after their like public feuding. And I had to give up my ticket because we had to fly out the day before the show to get there for the first show.
When Cher calls...
When Cher calls.
Well, that's not a bad reason to give up Madonna tickets, though, I gotta say.
It's not, no. But unfortunately, I really, really, really love Madame X. And the set list for the tour, which I'd already seen, had multiple of my favorite songs on it. So I was genuinely, like, very distressed to miss that show. And we had quite cheap tickets as well. So it was like, you know... It was an annoyance, but probably the most first world complaint to moan about that. But yeah,
well,
so I've only seen her once. There's
good news that you will be able to see the Madame X show because she's, you know, probably going to release a DVD at some point in the future. So you will be able to witness that. But
So
I was
Rod,
just going to say, what was it like to tour with Cher? I'm curious. Was there like wigs and sequins every day? And
I mean, it was just really gay. It was wild. Like it was so wonderful. You know, it's a really cool show to be part of, and it's so fun. And the audience are just having an amazing time. And her team was so lovely and let us use their lighting. And, you know, I had a big, huge video projection behind me. It was just me and 2 dancers just doing full choreography and singing every night for 35 minutes before Cher went on. And it was wild. Like, it was so much fun venues, fun crowds. Then we got to watch Cher every night. And, you know, like, what a dream month. Absolutely amazing.
So who inspires you for your live show when you put it together? Like what elements are coming from other sources, would you say?
Well, it would be people like, you know, Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, Madonna, Cher, Elton for the showmanship. I mean, it's different because he's seated, but like the energy that he brings is so electric. With Madonna, it would be like playfully revisiting catalog. I think she does that in quite a cool way and always makes sure that there's something for everybody, even if it's just like a little, you know, interlude or something. With Cher, it would just be like the kind of camp and the fun, and like Kylie Minogue as well for that, like camp and fun and just, you know, positive and upbeat and just joyful. Pet Shop Boys and Erasure, like Andy Bell's showmanship is just electric and so wonderful to watch him like twirling around, and he's having a great time, and everybody's just enjoying like his, you know, like bursting with energy and bursting with like, it's just so inspiring to watch somebody having that much fun on a stage. And then with Pet Shop Boys, like the kind of visual aspect and the lighting and the kind of like staging of things, I think they do that really beautifully. So like elements of all of that, you know, bearing in mind that I'm an independent artist who has no money and whatever you can do in that world for as little as possible when it comes to cost.
No, I think you've pulled it off. I mean, I've seen a lot of your clips from different shows that you've done, and you bring out the dancers, and there's a lot of like infectious energy. It's like I want to go see you perform live, you know?
Good. I mean, God knows when anybody can again. That's the crazy thing.
I know. It's so crazy.
You know, we've been planning like a sort of mildly ambitious tour for the next album. Like none of it can happen now. And, you know, there might still be the chance to tour it in, you know, September when the album's out. However, none of the rooms are going to be free because all of the tours that are happening before then, they're all rebooking, and they're all going to be trying to compete to get those spaces at a time where they should have been available to other people like me. And, you know, I definitely won't have the money from not having been able to earn any money live for 6 months to be able to do the show that I wanted to. And I don't know if some of the venues are even going to be open after the closure. And there's so much up in the air. So like, unfortunately, this was my album where the live show was really going to be something more immersive and involving. And right now, that's not going to be the case. But definitely have been paying attention to all the artists that I've mentioned in terms of how, you know, hopefully I can in the future pull that together. It's just a bit difficult right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now, no one really knows what, how, or when.
No.
You know, I was just, you know, we're talking about the Pet Shop Boys, and, you know, they had this huge tour,
I
scaled,
know.
and we don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, one thing that is going on right now is Romy and Michelle's Saturday afternoon tea party, and it's happening on Instagram Live.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Are you welcome? I mean, it's just, so the reason I started doing these parties is because, you know, a lot of the nightlife is geared towards drinking, you know, mild drug use to heavy drug use, depending on what kind of music style you go out and listen to, and late nights. And a lot of people that follow my music, you know, have kids, or they don't drink, or they maybe work in nightlife as well. So for them, they can't really go to a lot of evening events because they might be working or performing or whatever. So I set up this daytime thing where anybody from any walk of life could come and just listen to music with no snobbery. Like, it doesn't have to be super heavily dance floor oriented because it's a daytime thing. So people can dance, or they can sit, or they can drink, or, you know, whatever. And it's really teased out this like lovely, really weird and wonderful, diverse community of people that have come and made friends at the party and shared their love of music. And the whole requesting on Post-its meant that people felt that they could co-curate the event and they didn't have to be embarrassed about what songs they wanted to listen to. And sometimes I can see when I've played a song that somebody really loves that they never hear in a live arena, they just go crazy. And it's that nice feeling of like, oh my God, this is so fun. So I really did need to find an outlet for that with these venue closures, because, like, you know, the communication and the conversation aspect is important to me, so people can comment in the comment sections on Facebook Live or Instagram or whatever, and I see them talking about songs, and it's really cool just seeing that in a time where, you know, everyone's at home alone. I'm at home alone. I haven't seen a friend since the 16th of March, which I can't believe it's still March, but it is.
Today's the last way, right?
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
It doesn't matter. It could be December. It's all the same. But like, people being alone means all of the online content is people telling you things or like talking at you. And this idea of talking to someone is really important to me. So, you know, that's why I've continued that online and made sure that it's interactive and people can still like discuss things. And, you know, I've done multiple like Madonna only parties at these Romy Michele parties, and they've been so much fun. And watching like the crazy Madonna fans come out and know the B-sides and the deep cuts. So like I'll play Up Down Sweet and people lose their minds, or like I'll play, you know, I don't know, like Survival or something like that, and people know every word. And it's just nice to have that communal experience of something.
Yeah. When did you decide to like? So you started the party at Come On Everybody, correct?
Yeah.
So I know Michael and Eric who own Come On Everybody.
They're fabulous. They're just amazing.
They're wonderful and amazing, and it's a perfect venue for exactly what you're describing. And then you moved the party to Club Cumming.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the evolution of what you've done and how you've brought it to an online space is, you know, I mean, it's necessary for the times that we're currently involved in. I don't know if you've seen Dua Lipa, you know, her new album just dropped, and she's been having to do all promotion online, you know, like all of the morning shows, all of the nighttime talk shows, like they're all doing online stuff because they have to keep, you know, they want to keep getting paid and they have to do their jobs from home. And so Dua Lipa, I know she's been doing a lot of like Zoom stuff, and she's been doing a lot of Instagram live stuff. So there's possibilities, you know. I mean, I loved being able to go on Instagram live and for an hour and listen to a little Shapeshifters Lola's theme the other day.
That was so fun. No, I remember the first time I went to your party at Club Cumming, my friend he's like, let's go. I was like, no, I got to go to Trader Joe's. He's like, look, they've got these Post-its and you can like, you know, request whatever you want. So I don't know if you remember me, but I was the one who requested every song off Who's That Girl except Look of Love. But I had the best time because just like you said, where else am I going to hear these songs? Where else am I going to dance with these songs? Where else am I going to meet other people that freak out as much as I do when I hear them? So thank you for making that possible. And even online, it was like the other night, you know, I heard Lola's theme. I heard all these other songs. I was like, this is my people right here.
Yeah, it's nice to have that like silliness and the lack of caring about what the public perception of something is. It's just like having fun. And after Facebook kept cutting out, I just did it on Instagram and kept going. And I had like this girl I was in school with, like high school, she was there. She's like a mother, and she was just there like drinking in her kitchen at like I finished at 8 p.m., which is 4 hours ahead. So it's like, what is that, midnight or something? And she's like, oh my God, I'm so drunk. I'm having the best time. And I was just playing her like songs from our childhood, and everyone was just like, oh my God, what are these? It was just so much fun to have that like escape from self-monitoring or like self-censorship, you know?
Yeah, you just lose yourself, you know, and that's what we need right now, you know, because everything is literally right in front of us. So I've noticed that you have a love of soundtrack film, a soundtrack hit, you know, hits, songs, whatever, selections. I don't even know what I'm saying, but you know, especially since your cinematography EP is all covers of songs from films. And, you know, like I said, I know all the references. My favorite is Do You Dream About Me from Mannequin, which is so notoriously hard to find. Yeah. Alicia, what happened to you? Where are you? And why wasn't that released?
It's such a shame. I have it digitally. So it was released on an album, but it's weird that the album, I think just after is on streaming, but that song isn't.
Right.
Which is really annoying because it's probably the only one that got like a notable, you know, public release in terms of because sync to a film.
In My Wildest Dreams, can't find it anywhere. Not a good version, at least. You know.
No, definitely not. No, I mean, I have looked rather extensively. I have many versions of them. They're all terrible.
Yeah. So, what would you say are the most requested soundtrack selections whenever you do a set?
Ooh, soundtracks. Let's see.
Do you get a lot of Vision Quest? A lot of Who's That Girl?
In terms of Madonna, yeah, Who's That Girl gets asked for. Causing a Commotion is a huge fan favorite.
Yeah.
Yes. My personal favorite Madonna song from film is Next Best Thing, which never gets requested outside of the Madonna parties, but I do play it there and people love it, which is amazing.
It's a very pretty song.
Yeah, it's great. I often play I'm Going Bananas and Hanky Panky, which I really enjoy. And I almost every week, the last couple of weeks that I've been doing it public or online, I've played the Miami mix of Don't Cry For Me, Argentina.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, you've got to.
So much fun. I quite often play like Gloria Estefan Conga into Don't Cry For Me, Argentina into Jump in the Line by Harry Belafonte. And that's like a great triptych to have.
It's like going to the tropics.
Isn't it? Just get your little mimosa ready or like Mai Tai or something, or like
put an umbrella in there.
Exactly, yeah. Like even if you don't have a little cocktail one, just put a real umbrella in there. Just go crazy.
Sit under a really warm light bulb and you'll pretend that you're in Florida.
Yes,
right?
Exactly, yeah.
I think we should talk about the new single because I've been trying to interrupt to like talk about it, so
yeah,
I want it off my chest. I'm so excited.
Let's talk about that. So,
number one, it's a great house track.
Thank you.
Didn't think I'd be hearing like a full-on house track in 2020, so thank you for that.
Welcome.
Also, didn't think I was going to hear Niki and Donna doing background vocals on anyone's album this year, anyone's single this year. So, thank you for that as well.
Yeah, that was a coup. Good kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel a bit like Bob the drag queen sometimes. Who are like, "Don't I bring it to you every time?" It's like, oh, you've unearthed some other. I'm like, I do very often collaborate with unexpected people that you should be listening to more. So my whole ethos with this new record is to, it's like a big sort of like collaborative thing with like key people from the LGBTQ plus world. And obviously, you know, with their inclusion in Madonna's timeline and being in the Striker Pose era, you know, Striker Pose is the post documentary, the Truth or Dare, which we called In Bed with Madonna, which I think is a much better title. I'm so sorry, America.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're prudish here, you know.
In Bed with Madonna is just so cool.
It sounded too controversial, I'm sure.
In 1990, yeah, people thought, oh, that must mean she's naked in that bed.
Oh, yeah, ridiculous.
She's having sex in that movie. We can't go.
Given Niki and Donna's sort of like hugely important part in that era of time, I really thought that they would be such a cool duo to work with, and I'm just so thrilled to have them part of it. You know, like I've been such a fan of their voices, their energy, their like sassiness and fierceness, and you know their intertextuality, like, you know, Niki being on the Snap singles, which I knew before I knew about her involvement with Madonna, because the Snap singles were all top 10 in the
Exterminate
UK.
was amazing.
And like, Do You See the Light? Like, incredible. And then you see like Donna was like backup dancer also for Mylène Farmer, who's like a huge artist in France. And then, you know, she's done this and that and that. And it's like, what a wonderful tapestry to have attached to your name. So when I was writing this song, it's about the queer community and queer spaces and how they've been fractured in the last couple of years with, you know, certain political voting, and how you absolutely deserve to be told, sorry, you absolutely deserve to feel that you are safe in the place that you call home. It's like who has been pioneering that idea, and obviously, you know, like Madonna has been really pivotal in that conversation. So then when I took that song to Initial Talk and he produced it, he was like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool if we got like some 90s divas on it? And I was like, oh, let me see. And then just by chance they said yes, and they loved the song, and they're two of the nicest people I've met. They're really, really fun, lovely people. I love them.
So Tony and I both went to their show at Come On Everybody. I think I saw you there as well, yes?
Yeah, I had to introduce them to stage. So we'd recorded the vocals the day before when they were rehearsing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
In Manhattan, And so we just, we laughed and we got on really, really well. And so I went down that night just a little bit ahead of the show just to say, like, hi, hope everything's good. And Niki was like, oh, you're going to introduce us to stage? And I was like, sure, yeah, cool. And she's like, what are you going to say? And so I told her, and she was like, see, I knew you were a professional. And so I was like, cool, great. So I just walked up onto stage, introduced them to stage, and then, watched from the back. It was amazing. They're such good sports. They're really fun. Their voices haven't aged a day, which is mind blowing.
They're beautiful.
And like the contrast as well of like Donna really nails that like breathy, like softness, that I wanted for certain parts of the track, and then Niki just sounds like a tank, like coming through and just exploding with that big high note. It was like, wow, cool, perfect.
So, Rod, tell me about the remixes, because I listened to the whole EP and I was so taken aback that each remix is almost like a different kind of a 90s dance subgenre. How did you come up with all those different sounds? I mean, it's so cool. I mean, I know that a lot of them were remixed by other DJs or producers, but
I did them actually.
You did them all? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Well, other than Monsieur Adi, obviously he's like a big Madonna fan,
Right.
so I got him on board to do his mix. I love that man. Is just amazing. He's super cool, super super sweet, and just turned it around in like a heartbeat. So he's great. Then for the other two remixes, the So Hard and the Poolside Disco, I just kind of thought like I wanted a song that would fit in each gay realm, so you have like the house track, which kind of fits in like the kind of dance clubs that I go to. And then I wanted to make something a little bit harder that would fit into the kind of clubs that I don't frequently go to, like the kind of later night ones where
like
it's a bit
rooms.
so I've got like a dub version of that for some DJs and like that kind of sound where it just kind of like kicks a little bit harder. And then thinking about Fire Island on the summer, which I really adore that place, and I love the idea of just hearing that disco kind of version by the pool with like Lena Bradford or somebody spinning it, and, just like having that little like overpriced, like disgustingly sugary cocktail, but like living and like having my gorgeous time with like a caftan flowing and like
sun burning the back of your neck.
Absolutely.
When I heard that song, I was thinking like, this is a summer vibe for sure.
Yeah.
No, when I heard the poolside remix, I thought it would be Fire Island, but it would be the day after a Lena Bradford party.
Oh,
and
maybe
you'd be waiting for the noon siren, so you'd feel acceptable to drink and be like working your hangover off by the pool, listening to that remix, being like, "What was that song we heard last night? Oh yeah," and then you cue it up.
We'll go whatever fantasy you want to live. You just you go with it. I think like that. Also for me, the whole storyline of my album is like the history of queer culture, and I wanted to try and transpose this song into different like eras and have it like live throughout different moments of time. So there's like the disco one has like tiny little nods to like the old disco culture of like Sylvester and some of the people that were like making something a little bit more organic sounding with like horns and brass and guitars. And then the original version is around the like Parker Posey Party Girl kind of time.
One of our favorite movies.
So good, so good. And then the harder one is like a little bit more of a crisper modern take on it. So I think like thinking about history and future is important in the queer timeline. So I was just trying to play around with that idea for the EP.
No, and I'm glad you did, because I think a lot of the younger fans, they don't necessarily go out and try to hear where the influences came from. So sometimes you got to give it to them, and you sure did.
Thank you. Good. Yes. Achieved.
Well, so I'm excited to like what kind of sound are you going to be continuing the same type of 90s house sounds for the rest of the album, or are you gonna...
No, not so much. The rest of the album kind of like flirts with different sort of like sections of gay music history. So it's really inspired by people like Sylvester, Erasure, Pet Shop Boys, but also like Scissor Sisters and elements of Boy George, parts of Madonna's catalog, and Shep Pettibone,
Sign me up. I'm on board.
Yeah, like Hercules and Love Affair. Also like disco and like Gloria Gaynor and Donna Summer. Like it's a record which really kind of like tries to embody the energy of these people who had to find a way to create music where we could dance through pain throughout decades.
Which I think is also very, very time appropriate because
it wasn't meant to be as appropriate. That's the scary thing. So it's called Fun City, and that's a quote from the old mayor of New York in 1966, who took on the city, and the first day of office, the city like fell to the ground. There was a transport strike. Everything went wrong, and someone was like, are you still glad to be the mayor of New York? And he's like, I still think it's a fun city. So I kind of thought this idea of like a broken utopia was, something interesting, because we as queer people move to like San Francisco or to New York or Chicago or wherever to live out their fantasy of being around people like them, being part of a scene, being communal and not being alone, and having the chance to live, and which is what people are still doing in these places. But we're obviously aware that like in these cities, like it's super expensive. There's like hordes of like anti-LGBTQ, like transphobic, xenophobic rhetoric that's like flying around and coming at you exactly as it did back then, in different ways, in different measures. And you still have to keep, pushing and keep finding ways to have fun. So I like Fun City is for all of these people that just keep pioneering and keep pushing and keep creating. That's what the album is sort of about, really.
Oh, well said. I mean, it sounds like it's genre encompassing. And like you mentioned earlier, this is going to be released in the fall, correct?
Yeah.
In all formats? Cassette?
Yep.
Record?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a tape deck now because I really want to listen to cassette tapes. Madonna had some cassette tapes.
6 months.
No, yeah. In the past year, especially in the UK, like cassettes have become very, very popular. Every new release has a cassette.
Yeah. I don't think Madam X. Oh, yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yes, I got one.
I think I have one too. Yeah. I just don't have anything to play it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have two cassettes. I have the first Madonna cassette that I bought when I was 10, and then I have the Madam X cassette that I bought when I wasn't 10. So yeah, I just need a cassette player to play those two cassettes on repeat.
Do you have like a favorite Madonna album? Can I ask you that on the spot? Is that really?
Yeah, I would say Like a Prayer, because Like a Prayer is the first Madonna album where I was old enough to understand the themes, and I was able to understand the music, because before, when you're younger, you listen to what's on the radio, you kind of accept it and take it for what it is. But I remember buying the cassette for Like a Prayer, smelling the patchouli, and just studying the liner notes. And I could hear every instrument, and I knew who played it, But yeah, that was the one that really like captivated me. And from then on, it was just, I never looked back.
Fair.
So I want to, talking about the new album, I was wondering if maybe we could possibly twist your arm, maybe play a little bit of music for the listeners.
Yes, you can absolutely ask me to do that.
Okay.
I don't know if I can play you a new song, but I can play you
that's
an
fine.
old song.
I mean, you've got a vast catalog. I mean,
dealer's choice. Dealer's choice.
Okay, so I'm just going to move over to the piano over here. And just because, Madonna has been known to record a song pertaining to the cinema, I thought I would sing a song which itself is about cinema and is called Cry at Films. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Soon you're bleeding, but I can't stop this love from leaving, so I mop it up. And you find your skin on my hands, and I find our passion gone. And you ask for more time, and I ask myself again, where did I go wrong? And I cry at films that show me a good life, that show where I want to be, that show where we should be now. I don't know, where did I go wrong? How to change a heartbeat is so much easier said than done. Just one souvenir of how we were, and I'm overcome. And you find me left in pieces, and I find our passion gone. And you ask for more time, and I ask myself again, where did I go wrong? So I cry at films that show me a good life, that show where I want to be, that show where we should be now. I don't know, where did I go wrong? I try to think of words to say, but you never hear them, you never talk about it. Look how this heart slips away, oh, you never notice, you never think about it. Don't ask for more time, just ask yourself, where did I go wrong? And I cry at films that show me a good life, that show where I want to be, that show where we should be now. I don't know, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong?
Oh, wow. That
was so good.
Applause.
Did that sound okay?
Applause.
Okay,
It
great.
sounded so beautiful.
Yes, it sounded great. Thank you so much for
You're so
being so
welcome.
generous with your music.
Anytime.
So
Anytime.
let everyone know where they can find you on social media, because I'm sure Romy and Michelle's dance party is going to be coming up, I'm sure, again.
Yeah, so on social media, all of my handles are at BrightLightX2. So that's BrightLightX2. So that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. What else is there? TikTok, Grinderscraft.
Well, and I do want to highlight to our listeners, if you would like to help support an independent artist such as Bright Light, you can visit his website, brightlightx2.com/BLBL4. That will help. You can find his PayPal, which will help fund the production of his forthcoming album. During these times, we have to support the arts, because eventually the pandemic will be over and we will all want to be getting back to enjoying concerts and enjoying records and enjoying dance parties, and people ain't going to be able to do that unless they got some money. So
support your local artists. And he's got, oh my God, he's got so many EPs, and then he's got a couple of few full-length albums that are so good. I was playing them over the weekend and like just on repeat, and it's so cool because you'll be hearing like a banger, and then you'll get like a really sensitive sweet ballad, and then you'll get a cover. So it's the perfect music for working from home.
Yes.
Well, thank you
or wandering through the the same streets of the suburbs over and over and over again. So.
Yeah, I'm a very versatile artist. But also it's really important. Like, if you don't have the funds to support an artist financially, sharing songs on a playlist or sharing a video with your friends or sharing a Spotify link or something is also a really, really lovely thing that you can do to help creatives. You know, you can share people's videos, you can share live performances, or like talk about them with your friends. Like, that's how people learn about stuff, and that's another easy, free way to help keep art alive. And, you know, that's equally as appreciated. So thank you, everybody, for whatever way you can help.
Absolutely right. I mean, that's how I found out about you, and now I can't stop talking about you. It's like, oh, have you heard Brightlight? What? Where have you been? Don't sleep on it.
Well, and the same thing goes for venues as well. Like we were mentioning, Come On Everybody, which is where Niki and Donna performed, and you started the Romy and Michele party. You know, like those venues are all closed right now, and they're still having to pay rent, unfortunately. And, you know, like if you used to go and patronize a venue in your local community, those places are closed and desperately need your support. So if you can, you know, help a place like Come On Everybody by, you know, like they all have GoFundMe set up, or if you're like a local restaurant that you can buy a gift certificate and use it when they're back open again, you know, like they need your money. So try and help them.
Yeah, or what you could even do is, you know, if they have a fundraiser, you could even like once a week donate them the amount of a drink.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tiny thing that takes a little bit of your, you know, your income in the way that you'd spend it anyway, and helps them if enough people do that. So don't feel like you need to give them like $50. You can give 2, you can give 1, everything helps, you know. And if you can't afford to do any of that, you can always share their GoFundMe link and let people know that they need help. That's, you know, that's something else you can do.
That's right. Spread the word, pass it on. So, Stefan, I think it's time for my favorite part of the podcast.
Yes. So we do this for every guest that's on the podcast. It is our Madonna lightning round. And it is literally just a couple of very simple, easy questions of where you're at in your current quote unquote Madonna journey as a fan. You don't have to think very hard and long about these questions. It's just whatever springs to mind. So first question. Favorite Madonna video?
Drowned World Substitute for Love.
Oh, good one. Love any video that has Madonna running is a good video.
Yes.
This can be from photo shoots, movies, videos, tours, whichever. Your favorite Madonna look?
A bedtime story live at the Brit Awards with the long white flowing hair and the 2 boys behind her.
Yes.
I love that she trotted that dress back out again last year, right? Wasn't it after the at the Met Gala that she wore it? It was like the Met Gala after party, I think.
Yeah, she wore it to the after party, and everyone's like, "Is it that dress?" I was like, "Yes, it is."
Yes,
like,
it is.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's
absolutely amazing,
and it fits her to a T still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if you have any of these type of items or whatnot, but do you have a favorite Madonna memorabilia item?
Oh, do I have any memorabilia? I don't think I have any memorabilia. I have a lot of records.
Physical records.
Pick a rare pressing that you've
it
come
might
across.
Be I'll Remember on 12-inch, or maybe I love the Burning Up artwork. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I have that on 12-inch. It's just like it's a really amazing image. I love that one so much.
So I had seen you tweet just today, and I thought I'd give you my answers live instead of tweeting you back. But you said, in lockdown, I have these very important questions. And you asked 5 questions. I'm just going to tell our listeners about this and answer as well. Your first question was, your favorite Kylie Minogue song? Mine would be Spinning Around. Tony, what would yours be?
Put Yourself in My Place album version.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Second question was your favorite Mariah Carey album. Mine would definitely be Butterfly because I worked for Sony Music at the time when
Wow.
Butterfly was coming out.
Wow.
And they did the video for Butterfly, the production company that I was working for, and she required humidifiers like every 5 feet in the hotel room that she was staying at. And so after the shoot, they brought back all of the humidifiers and they just gave them out to everybody in the office. So for years I had a Mariah humidifier that I had. So,
Wow.
so Butterfly, but then unofficially, I don't know if you've heard the dance remix version of Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel.
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah.
Love that. That is like, I was so upset that wasn't the actual physical released version of that because I thought that was amazing. Tony, what would your favorite Mariah Carey album be?
Hands down, Glitter. Love Glitter because, you know, as just listen to it. It's like you're stuck in the 80s with Mariah.
Yeah.
So good. So
your question 3 was your favorite Cher tweet. Now, I did have to look this up because I don't know Cher tweets off the top of my head, but I did find one. Somebody had asked Cher, how did you celebrate Madonna's birthday? And she said, I got a colonic.
It's just so amazing, isn't it?
Well, I can't come up with this Cher tweet on such short notice, but in the early 90s, Cher wrote a book called The First Time, and each, you know, it was basically just a collection of all her first times. And I guess it could be like a long series of Cher tweets. But yeah, if you don't know that book, find it on Amazon and buy it because it will, and you sit down and you'll just laugh your ass off for a couple of hours. I don't know the reason why she wrote it, but I'm glad she did.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of pop culture is like that. No one knows why, but thank God.
Yeah.
Your question 4 was your favorite Celine Dion fashion. I know mine would definitely be from the 2019 Met Gala. It was that like Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast on crack outfit that she wore with like the fringe and sparkles galore. And it was like that crazy headdress. I was like, absolutely. I mean, her fashion is bonkers. On an amazing on a daily basis, but like that was like, I don't. Tony, do you have a favorite outfit that you've seen Celine Dion
Actually,
wear?
yeah, what comes to mind, I've always liked the way she looked in this and thought she should do it more, is when she wore that white suit, you know, with the plunging neckline and her hair was slicked back. I think a little masculinity works on Celine.
Yeah, she's the androgyny line is very like Tilda Swinton, David Bowie hybrid, I think.
Oh, I love Tilda Swinton. She's a goddess. Your question 5, which I thank you for asking this question as well. Your favorite line from Anne Francis's Schitt's Creek, A Little Bit Alexis song. And I love A Little Bit Alexis. I love Schitt's Creek. My one was, I'm a little bit single, even when I'm not.
It's just so funny, isn't it?
Tony, do you know that song? You know A Little Bit Alexis, yes?
No, I'm gonna get boiled in oil for this, but I don't know Schitt's Creek. I'm gonna dive in. Trust me, I will. I mean, I've heard so many amazing things about it. I'm a big fan of Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy all the way back from SCTV. So I know I'll be doing myself a favor. I'll do it, and then I'll 100%. Let you guys know.
Yeah, I had seen the cast of Schitt's Creek. They did that like like a live Schitt's Creek talk back at Beacon Theater, but then they also did another one most recently at 92Y. And they, you know, Dan Levy and Anne Francis always talk about A Little Bit Alexis because everyone's always asking about it. And it's just so funny to hear her talk about how she asked Dan Levy if she could write the song. And he has always said he had zero expectations that she was going to come back and, you know, have anything worthy of putting on a television show. And she came back with this banger that was like basically like a B-side Britney Spears song that never got released. And he was like,
it's amazing. It's one of the best things that's ever happened.
Oh my God. I got to listen to this.
Yeah, they sort of, it comes up in the show very late in the seasons, but when it does, it's like this little bit of heaven. And the fact that they released it as an actual single and it like went to number 1 on Spotify, and you know, it's so good. It's so good. It's a lot of fun.
I guess this is all going on while I was listening to Madam X again.
It might have been.
Well, Rod, thank you for coming on the show.
You're
This has
welcome.
been
Thank you so much for having me.
wonderful. I mean, we got
No,
to hear
this
some
is great.
music, and we got to have a little kiki, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the album now.
Well, yeah. I hope that you like it when it comes out, and hopefully the world doesn't throw anything else at us in the meantime.
No, we've got more than
who knows?
enough to handle right now. But yeah, when your album comes out, it's going to be very
party
much
time.
publicized on our podcast. And I'm
Thank
just happy
you.
that I was able to talk to someone who knows about the Mannequin soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Alicia in that was like a Madonna. She was the cheap Madonna, wasn't she? For God's sake!
Oh yeah.
You know, which
she was right up there with Regina, Martika.
Yeah,
all those.
Yeah, all those one-named people. You know,
the other record labels answer to Madonna.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us this week. Like we said, you can find him on all social media, Brightlight X2. And you can find us wherever, anywhere podcasts are heard. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Luminary. You got it.
Google Play.
And also, you can find us on Instagram at MLVC Podcast and drop us a line on our website, MLVCpodcast.com. Until next time, we're really grateful for you guys listening to us. We love being able to put out content during this time. And if you have anything you want to say to us, say it to our face. No, I'm just kidding.
And make sure you check out Brightlight's new single with Niki Haris and Donna Lory, produced by Initial Talk, which scores, again, kudos for you for getting all of those people involved in the single, because it's a little slice of heaven.
Yeah, the single is amazing. It's called This Was My House, and streaming everywhere.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
All right, talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.